If it doesn't move the primary needles in your life, ignore it. If it's not going to help you make more impact on other people's lives with your business, ignore it. If it's not going to help you make more income to fund your personal lifestyle, to grow your business, and to pay the team members and the freelancers and the people you work with, ignore it. If it's not going to help you have more time with the people you love most and more time to enjoy the hobbies and the experiences you most want, ignore it. Maybe you've heard the saying before that no news is good news. I happen to think it's great news. So much of what's going on today in the news, in the media, is just a distraction to you living the life you want to live, to you creating the business you want, and to you having the abundance, the impact, and the sort of life you want. A lot of what's going on in the news today is divisive. Put simply, the way that a lot of companies make money is with clicks, whether it's cost per clicks or it's views or it's some sort of metric that basically says, did people look at this? And the way you get people to look at things is with shock value. You come up with something that's outlandish, that's crazy, that is got somebody thinking about fear, about their worst things, about what's wrong with the stock market, what happened here, who died. And some of this stuff is not new. It's been going on for years, but more and more now, it is being monetized. It's being monetized in social media. It's being monetized in news channels, in media. And so even if you look at the political landscape, wherever you are, you'll find that there's an extreme group on a conservative side. There's an extreme group on the liberal side. And meanwhile, you have probably the majority of the people who are in the happy middle. They have a normal life. They're working hard. They're paying their bills. They're hanging out with their family. They're doing things with their friends. And they are not being represented equally in the news. The news does not have 60% of their content or 80% of their content about, well, you know what? Johnny went to school today and he had a good day at school. And Susie, well, she dropped off Johnny to school and she coached the soccer team after. That's not exciting. That doesn't get people wanting to watch. When you connect with people, you might think about that friend you have, let's say that you talk to maybe once every 2 years or 3 years. And there's some of those friends that we can just once in a while connect with, and we'll say, hey, what's up? And we might not have seen them for 2 to 3 years. And they might tell us 5 to 10 things that happen that are significant. And those things are news. So maybe in 3 years, there might be 5 or 6 things that are really significant. Well, the business model of the news is that something is always news. Something is always going on. And I always need you to be watching. I always need you to be subscribing. I always need you to be giving me attention. It's like one of those people in your life that that constantly needs to be the center of attention. There's always a drama. There's always a problem. Even when things work out, they're not happy. Why? Because what they want is attention. What they need is attention. The best way to live and enjoy your life is to just do your life. And that goes for your business as well. There are countless experts or so-called experts out there that are going to tell you how to run your business. I'm going to suggest to you, you find one, maybe 2, some of the best ones, and you don't buy their $10,000 course. You don't buy their $1,000 online program. You buy their $10 or $20 book, and you read the book, and you see if you can implement that. And if you can do that, great. That's a great way to start your business. It's a financially responsible way to start your business to avoid getting into debt, but not counting on them to save you, not counting on something that is almost this extreme promise or something far more than you thought would be to make something happen. So I encourage you, whether it's in the social media you watch, the Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter things, if it's in the news you're looking at, if it's sounding too crazy to be true, these days, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, maybe it's an AI simulation, doesn't really matter. If it doesn't move the primary needles in your life, ignore it. If it's not going to help you make more impact on other people's lives with your business, ignore it. If it's not going to help you make more income to fund your personal lifestyle, to grow your business, and to pay the team members and the freelancers and the people you work with, ignore it. If it's not going to help you have more time with the people you love most and more time to enjoy the hobbies and the experiences you most want, ignore it. Put simply, if it's not making an impact, making money, or making memories, it's probably something you don't need to be looking at. And so in that case, no news is the best news possible. And if you want to know what's actually going on in the world and you want to stay in touch, do yourself a favor. Go on a search engine, do this on multiple search engines, and just search least biased news sources. Now, I'm not even going to tell you what those are because then you might say, well, Wade's pushing a specific one. I do that once in a while, and sometimes it even changes, but there's different posts you'll see where they'll show you on a post, hey, here's how this news site reports from. They report from a bias of really far left versus really far right. And why I say that is because there's a difference between what I'm going to call science and marketing. Science is all about finding out the truth. So a true scientist, if they're doing an experiment, they might be hoping for a certain outcome. Let's say they're working on a curative drug. They're hoping the drug works, but they also know that if they're wrong, that it's better to find out that it didn't work so that they can learn from it. What would taint that process is if the person has so much of a financial interest or their career's at stake to where they say, okay, they might not say these words, but I'm no longer going to be a scientist. I'm going to be a marketer. I'm going to advocate that my medicine works, and I'm going to try to find ways to prove it, whether it actually works or not. Well, when it comes to politics or points of view or selling things, the person who's the marketer says, I already know what I believe. I want you to buy my stuff. I already know what I believe. I don't like this group of people, or I think the world should be this way. And therefore, everything that comes out of my mouth is going to be me sharing something to validate my point of view and to reinforce what works for me. That's not news. At least that's not the news the way I grew up on it. In our days, if you were going to share an opinion, you had to say, this is an editorial. And so most of what you're going to find on news today is anything from a mild editorial to an outright just brainwashing, as opposed to the person or the news source that says, here's what happened, and allows you to process and think about it. Or at the very least, if they give an opinion, they'll say, hey, here's my opinion. Or some of the more responsible sources will say, hey, here's this person and they work for this company and they represent, quote unquote, the left or the mild left. And here's this person, they represent the right or the mild right or whatever it might be. By the way, they'll never say they represent the extreme left or the extreme right. But put simply, be clear about what's coming into your brain. There are certain things we want to know facts. Usually if you look at sources like, for example, let's say LinkedIn, for me, LinkedIn's a pretty good source that because there's so much business involved that most people are kind of hesitant to post phony, stupid stuff on there because it's usually going to come back and bite them. LinkedIn's one of the few places where your profile is probably real. In other words, you can fake an Instagram profile, you can fake a TikTok profile or a Twitter profile. LinkedIn, because you're connecting with other people, if you have a lot of recommendations and you've recommended other people and you have endorsements, testimonials and that sort of stuff, it's really hard to fake that. And so it's a more reliable source. And again, I've not even looked up if they're a left or a right or a center. My point is, look out for what you're aiming for. Focus on your goals and dreams, because 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, whenever it is that you're at your deathbed, you're going to be asking yourself, how did I live my life? What did I do? What was meaningful? What are the memories I have? And just like there's that age-old saying that you're not going to wish you spent more time at work, promise you, you're not going to wish you spent more time watching editorial and sensational news. You're not going to spend more time wondering what happened on this reality TV show. You're going to be saying, gosh, I wish I spent more time living my life, making things happen. So keep things simple. Focus on what's most important to you, your loved ones, your customers. Focus on making an impact, making an income, creating memories. And as always, look forward to helping you create the life and the lifestyle you most desire so you can fully enjoy your family, your friends, your freedom, and your life. Thanks so much for listening.